So,
Yeah,
welcome to the music podcast.
Thank you so much.
My name is Nick,
and I'm Frederick.
and today we have a very special guest with us, Vinyl Bailey.
Yes, welcome, welcome.
Vinyl Bailey.
So how
My
did
name
you
is Vinyl Benjy.
Benji?
Pleasure meeting you guys.
You too.
It's a
Um,
pleasure.
so how did you get started in collecting vinyls?
It's a very interesting story, and it's a story I've told a million times already. And the crazy thing is, I still love telling it all these years later. This started about 14 years ago. I was 14. I just turned 14, and I ordered from Amazon a Beatles single from their reunion, 1995, "Freeze a Bird." I was already a huge Beatles fan. I already knew most of their songs by that point, but I was still learning a lot more. Still didn't know the differences between like the British albums, the US albums, and so on. There's still a lot to learn, but I still knew plenty. And it was around that time. 2009 was a big year for the Beatles because their albums were remastered, Rock Band came out, and a whole new generation of Beatles fans suddenly emerged, and it was a beautiful thing. It was around that time I learned that in the 90s, when their reunion songs were released, they had bonus tracks, B-sides that were exclusive to the single. And to this day, most of them are still not available for streaming or never got on iTunes or anything like that. So with my parents' help, I went onto Amazon, ordered the CD, which had 3 bonus tracks on them that weren't on Anthology or anything. And this was on May 2nd, 2009. I only remember the date because I looked on Amazon years later when I ordered it. But a few weeks later it came and I got the record instead. And that's how
Wow.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So basically, you've been a vinyl fan since childhood.
Pretty much, yeah. I was a teenager.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And let me ask. I just want to we usually ask a lot of people this, but what is your number one favorite collection or your number one favorite vinyl you have?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know. I have a lot of it. I don't know if you could tell from here, but I have a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see it from here. So
my favorite artist is definitely the Beatles.
The Beatles?
Has been my whole life. They're the artist I own most of on vinyl. My favorite album of all time is definitely a Sgt. Pepper.
Sgt. Pepper? That's a good one.
Plenty of copies of that one. That's another story.
Who's your favorite Beatle?
Oh, George.
George?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of personhood and overall.
Yeah. One thing about George though is he's like the least Beatle I hear about. Like I usually hear about like maybe Paul, John Lennon, and Ringo, but never hear about George because there's it's always the fourth person that you don't really like. Because I always have trouble remember the fourth guy's name and stuff. And I was like, oh, I can name all the Beatles. Like there's George, John, and Ringo, and then there's one more. And people always be like, George. And it's like he was the quiet one, kind of. They said he was like the quiet one of the Beatles. But I'm actually shocked. Excuse me. I'm actually I actually heard some of his singles like before he passed away and stuff. But and it was like it probably opened my eyes a little bit more to see more of his music when he wrote some of his solo when the Beatles separated and stuff. And I actually found it interesting that he wrote music on his own in 99 or not 99 but maybe like 75 or 80% of the music for the Beatles he wrote them. So and I just find that very interesting.
I don't think it's that much. George generally got maybe like 1 or 2 songs per album. And when the Beatles started, when they were really starting to take shape as a band and get famous worldwide, he wasn't the songwriter he eventually became. He didn't have the skills that John Lennon and Paul McCartney had. By the end of the Beatles, however, his songwriting skills really developed and he really started to shine in that way. And I personally have always considered the best songs on Abbey Road to be "Here Comes the Sun" and "Something," which are songs that he wrote. And you really see that with his album "All Things Must Pass," which was his first album from after the Beatles. And you know, it was a triple album. Well, two LPs of songs and one of jams. Some of the songs that he wrote for All Things Must Pass were written during when he was in the Beatles. Like, earliest one I can think of is "Isn't It a Pity," which was written around the Revolver, 1966. So it was really a lot of sort of pent up emotion and his desire to succeed on his own without the help of the Beatles and speak his own voice. And he did that very successfully, I'd say.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that's one thing about that.
and what made you start like telling people about your vinyl collection on TikTok and your Instagram?
Great question. I started the account in 2016. Well, I started vinylbenjy on Instagram in 2016. I was in college. At the time, it wasn't really anything I was gonna really push. You know, of course I wanted to get more followers, but I didn't really know how to. I was just posting once in a while. I would share about an album, take a photo of it, write a few short sentences. And that was that. But over the course of the next few years, I started posting more. I started developing my own sort of voice and aesthetic and things like that. And then in beginning of 2021, well, towards the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, I gave myself this sort of look aesthetic. I took all the photos of my records on my bed cover over there.
Mhm.
And that didn't last very long. I gave myself a logo too. That didn't last long either. Eventually, during May of 2021, I asked a bunch of other vinyl people that I know, hey, take a photo of yourself with the first record you got, the first record that started it all. I want to tell those stories. I did every day in the month of May. However, those posts weren't doing super well. They weren't doing as well as I had hoped. So I was talking to a friend of mine and who works in social media as well, and she was pretty much like, "Yeah, you got to still post during this, especially Reels, because it was a sort of a reminder. Reels are becoming a thing, video content. That's what's being pushed." So
Oh
it was
yeah.
around that time as well that I started really putting forward the video content that people, I guess, now know me for. And I've been, that's how it's been. And it really worked out, actually. The thing that kept me busy during the pandemic before vinylbenjy was Animal Crossing, and I was so glad to get out of that, as much as I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand the feeling.
I got so burnt out from Animal Crossing, and I loved it so much. But even towards the end, I was starting to like need a break from it. But I was still playing it every day, and I haven't touched it since then.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh wait, so is there I have another question. Is there any least favorite vinyl you have or that you don't really listen a lot?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's the least favorite, but you know, I do sometimes, not as much anymore, but I would buy plenty of records that look cool and just sort of like get it for the hell of it. You know, nowadays I try to think carefully, think more about what I want, and try to be more selective because one, you know, I gotta save my money. Number two, I'm running out of room.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of records I have here that I would listen to once and probably never pick up again. But I
And
wouldn't say I have a least favorite. I
and
mean, there
how
are
many?
bands I don't like, but I don't have them on vinyl. So
Right, yeah.
Yeah. How many vinyls do you think you have, or you have?
definitely around 1,500, I'd say.
1,500. Wow.
I haven't
Wow.
finished counting yet. It's taken me a while.
Jeez. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
do you collect mostly albums or 45s too?
So when I started collecting, I was mostly doing singles. My first record was a single. They were cheaper. I started with singles. But nowadays I mostly get albums.
Albums.
That's cool.
And where do you mostly pick up your vinyls from? Thrift shops, online, eBay?
Mostly record stores. I used to buy online more, but I don't do it much anymore. When I go online, I usually go Discogs or eBay. When I buy in person, I go to local record stores.
That's cool. And
That's
and
cool.
how did you know that that Police album was purple?
I saw it on a video on YouTube a while ago.
That is pretty cool. I
Yeah.
never knew that even existed.
I'm
Or
never
that-
claiming to be the person who discovered this information and suddenly sharing with people. I learned this stuff from other people like everyone else does. So I just posted this video the other day about this font that's used on a lot of different album covers, famous album covers, like Pet Sounds and LA Woman by the Doors. We'll get to that one in a second. Since Simon and Garfunkel, and Cooper Black.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: I love being I never really like to call myself an influencer, but I guess I am. I like being a person who people enjoy his content and things like that. But I made one little mistake on the video. I said LA women, not LA woman. Which, yes, there is a difference. Like I said it. I actually said it said women by accent, but I got so many goddamn comments from people. You said women, not woman.
Wait, so they just corrected you because you were referring to the women in LA, and
they corrected me because I said women and not woman.
Oh.
Like women with en and not woman with an. Like okay.
You know what's funny? It's funny that you brought that up because social media can get kind of cruel sometimes. And so when like when you make a mistake and stuff, or when you're like, or I guess when you're like, talking about something and they have to fact check you every time.
Yeah.
Which I find that so annoying. It's like, well, excuse me, I didn't know you was a teacher.
Look, occasionally we all make mistakes, get things wrong. Like if someone fact fine, I try to be my best and be mature and accept it. And look, it happens, but this was just the tiniest mispronunciation of words that sound very similar to begin with. One is a singular version of the other.
Yeah. It's like basically you offended everybody, every woman in LA and stuff for your pronunciation.
And when this happens, I ended up communicating with this guy who also commented. He was very nice about it, and we were talking. He was just kind of like, yeah, these people, they're fans of yours. They're holding you to a high standard. They want to see that you're doing your best. And I was like, no, these people just found my video. They don't follow me. They don't really give a fuck about me. They just love to. They just love to. I just like to think that people like that tend to have their own problems and own issues, and they don't know how to acknowledge it or face it, and they instead take it out on other people.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing of being corrected, but there are people the way they would say, like, bro, it's LA woman, not women. Are you a real Doors fan? Like shit like that.
Yeah. It's like I'm used to like this is I guess suspect you should know these things, especially if you're not from LA, or it's like that in New York too.
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker. I mean, I could have easily used the excuse, oh, we have different subtle accents.
Yeah.
Either.
Like me personally, I live in Miami, and there's a lot of people, well, Miami area and stuff, West Palm Beach mostly. And most people, from out of town always say like, because the place I go to is like in downtown Miami, but I have to go like past Boca.
Frederick, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to interrupt you for a second. I think the delivery is here. I just need to grab it real quick. I'm coming right back.
Oh, that's fine.
Sure. Go ahead.
Guys, I'm so sorry that I'm doing this. I'll be back.
That's good.
Yeah.
And Frederick, I was so sorry to interrupt you, dude. I feel terrible.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good, bro. You're good.
I'll be back. Little interruption.
That's fine.
Anyway, as you were saying, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, it's no big deal, man. But yeah, what I was saying was, people. There's a town that I go through. Like, you ever heard of Boca Raton?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people out of towners will pronounce it like, oh, I've been to Boca Raton and stuff, and people who are native to Boca Raton and stuff will correct them, and it kind of got people's nerves, like especially from people who are not from Florida and stuff, and they will always have that pronunciation where it's like it's Boca Raton, not Ton, and stuff. And it's like, oh, my bad, whatever. So
I always try, at least with places, I always try to pronounce the name of a place as the locals do. Like I used to say Oregon, but obviously now I say Oregon.
Yeah. And so, and I always say Jersey because, most of my family are from Jersey and New York. And I always call it like Jersey.
Yeah.
And so,
it's like people, like when I'm going into Manhattan, I just say, oh, I'm going to the city. I barely say Manhattan by name.
It's funny. Any New Yorker, I lived there for a little bit, and every New Yorker never said they always say the city. They never call it by Manhattan or I guess the island, because Manhattan is an island and stuff. But they always like, yeah, I'm going into the city, or I'm going on 42nd Street is like downtown or midtown.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. So yeah, as long as I've been living there, nobody ever called it, I'm going to Manhattan for a run.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
And
or
we,
I'm gonna be in Brooklyn for a meeting. So
but you say Brooklyn, and when you go to Queens, you don't say Queens, you say which part of Queens you're going to. I'm going to Astoria, Forest Hills. Like like you don't people don't just
yeah,
say Queens. I've always found it interesting about Queens. That's something I
yeah,
don't. I live in New York. I don't even understand that totally.
yeah.
What's your favorite female artist that you have?
Oh, there's a few. I love Linda Ronstadt. Let's see. Joni Mitchell as well. Let's see. I'm just trying to think. Well, occasionally you run into an artist. I mostly listen to older music, but occasionally there are newer artists I love. There's a female
Yeah.
singer out around now called Ash. She's fantastic. Really love her. Let's see. I'm trying to think.
Are you a fan of Fleetwood Mac?
Yeah, I like Fleetwood Mac. They're not my favorite, but I do like them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like nobody, it's funny. I feel like nobody didn't know who Fleetwood Mac until that viral TikTok dude played their song and
Oh,
stuff. And that's when everybody was like, "Oh, Fleetwood Mac, that lady from Stevie Nicks."
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
yeah. I
nobody.
mean, I knew who they were.
Yeah, I knew who they
Yeah.
were.
I always love it
Yeah.
when a older song becomes popular through things like TikTok, and they get new fans and people fall in love with this music. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
I've always
it
loved that.
is.
Like right now, Do You Know is Secret by the Beatles, which is one of their deeper cuts from their very first album. That's been going viral and it's been so awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
What
Yeah.
what album have you picked up recently?
What albums I picked up recently? What did I pick up recently? Well, let's see. Oh, I just got this one. This is by a band called Babe Corner. This is the last one I got.
Hmm.
They're a band from Vancouver. A friend of mine, his girlfriend is in this band. Her name's Haley Blaze.
That's cool.
I don't know if you guys heard of her at all.
No,
No.
I haven't yet. No.
Well, I highly recommend her. She's absolutely fantastic. Her boyfriend Jake is a dear friend of mine. We go all the way back to our teenage years, and we knew each other through Jewish youth group back in high school. Although he's from Canada, I'm from New York, but we met via mutual friends, and we were talking a lot. We reconnected like last year, and turns out he's dating this this pretty well-known musician named Haley Blaze. I've met Haley, she's very nice, and she's in the band now, and I got this album in the mail. It's funny, I was gonna order it anyway, and then not long later, one of the other members of the group messaged me and was like, "Hey, can we send you this album? Like to share about or whatever." And I wish part of me wishes I would have waited a little longer to order it, then I would have gotten it for free.
Yeah.
They're actually gonna be sending me a t-shirt though. They're sending me a t-shirt, which is nice. I didn't get it yet, but
That is cool.
yeah.
I'll have to check them
This is
out.
the last one I got. I have a few more on the way, and I'm going to a record store day on Saturday. I'm hoping I'm
Have
successful
you
there.
let me ask, have you met anybody on the vinyl collection in real life, like anybody who's like well known, famous and stuff?
Like famous musicians?
Yeah, like famous musician, artists.
I
That's
have.
cool.
I've met a few. Al Jardine from the Beach Boys. He's my favorite Beach Boy, and the Beach Boys are one of my favorite bands. So that was an amazing time. So I was seeing him live anyway, and I knew I'd get to meet him afterwards. It was a very small venue. Before the show started, there was a comedian going on stage to open up for him. I was going to the bathroom, and I left the bathroom. Everyone was in their seats already, and there he was waiting by the elevator right outside the main venue area. It was like wow,
that is
cool. And he was very nice, and we got a selfie, and we were talking about whether or not I should take the elevator or the stairs. I've met a few others. Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, cool.
He's a really
cool.
dude.
Wow.
And I actually know his now. I now know his brother-in-law, and his husband. I used to work for an LGBT organization, and Chad Smith's brother-in-law, he's part of that community, so I've met him. I still keep in touch with him, not too much anymore, but from time to time, I still see him on Facebook and stuff. That's besides the point. Who else? Fred Schneider from the B-52s as well.
I know Fred Snyder, not personally, but I seen him. and
Yeah, that's
stuff.
cool. Yeah, I know who they are. Yeah.
Peter Asher from Peter and Gordon, who's also a very well-known producer and manager. And just recently, Denny Lane from Moody Blues and Wings.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. It's always
So,
nice to meet your heroes. It's fun.
yeah. Do you have like any like I don't know favorite genre from like any of like music like I don't know pop, rock, roll, um funk, house, whatever, like any genre that you like the most?
Oh, well, rock and roll's my favorite.
Rock and roll.
Classic
Yeah.
rock. There are other genres I like as well. I do like funk. I do like some pop. I like a little bit of country. I'm not I've never been the biggest hip hop rap fan. Granted, it's a great genre. It's
Yeah.
not for me. I've always I'm about to go on another tangent. I tend to do that. There's a difference. I was telling someone this the other day. There's a difference between not liking something and thinking something sucks. Like, and people tend to sort of confuse the two, but I think they're very different. Like, for example, I hate Pink Floyd. Great. They're a great band. They're legendary. They're very influential. I know they're good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the fact that I dislike them. But people all the time will find something they don't like and be like, "Oh, they suck," as if like they have the say and they're correct about it. I don't know.
Yeah. I there's certain people that I like, but I won't like. I'm not a big fan of and stuff. Like I don't know. People got so offended one time. This was one like I was at a festival in Miami, and I told someone that, oh, I'm not a big fan of Dead Mouse, and so he's like a big EDM I don't know DJ.
The
And
guy, he
stuff.
also has big mouse ears, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that big mouse ears, and a lot of people got on me about that. It's like, how can you say that? Why are you here then? I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know who he is. Like, and I
Yeah.
don't like his music puts me to sleep sometimes and stuff. And everybody and everybody was like, oh wow, I can't believe you said that. You should leave while you are ahead because there's gonna be a mob after you. I was like, are y'all serious? Like just one dude that I don't care for, y'all gonna really throw me out? Someone that I don't even barely know and stuff. So I don't know. People get so offended when you don't like certain type of people and stuff.
Gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Gatekeepers.
What album is like? What rare album do you have?
I have a few. Here, I'll show you some of them. I got a few albums that I definitely consider among very rare. Two just popped into my head actually. They're both albums by two of my favorite groups of all time. Let's see. Ooh. Oh yeah. Here. No, it's over here. Wait. Here. There are definitely a few others I have that are on the more expensive side. But I'll just start with these two. I'm trying to think if and I'll just start with these two. All right. So here's one. One's the Beatles and one's the Beach Boys. I'll start with this one. This is an American Beatles album called Yesterday and Today.
Yes.
And it was first released with a different album cover. They call it the butcher cover. The Beatles wearing lab coats. They had little baby doll parts and pieces of meat. And it was very controversial from the beginning. And so a lot of those were recalled, and they would paste over whichever album jackets were left with the new cover.
Mm-hmm.
They call these first state, second state, and third state. First state are the ones that just had the butcher cover. Second state is the one that was covered with the suitcase, the trunk cover. That's the one I have. And the third state is when someone would peel off the trunk cover for the butcher cover.
Yeah.
And the thing is with the trunk covers, the second states are a little rare nowadays because a lot of people would peel them off. I don't blame them for their curiosity. I mean, I would want to peel it off too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These are getting rare. I did spend a lot of money on this. They are very expensive nowadays. Although sometimes you might be lucky to find one, buy it from someone who doesn't know what it is. I bought this from someone who's very aware of what it is, and it was the most I spent on a single record. Not going to say how much I spent on it, though.
That's fine.
Then this other one. it's a Beach Boys album called Holland from the early 70s. And this is a pressing from Germany. The reason why it's very rare is because when the Beach Boys originally submitted this album, well, I'll say this, the lead single from this album is a song called Sail on Sailor. I don't know if you guys heard that song ever, but it's a great one. And when they first submitted the album, it was recorded in Holland, but the label didn't approve it. They went back to America and recorded Sail on Sailor. And when they first submitted it, it had a song called We Got Love on it instead of Sail on Sailor. In Germany, they used the wrong master. So the first like few hundred copies of the album had that song We Got Love on it instead of Sail on Sailor. And
That's weird.
Wow,
cool.
That's some good history right there.
I'd been looking for this one for a very long time, and I came upon it on eBay one day, and I snagged it so fast. Actually, no, I came upon it one night before bed, and I was like, I'm going to bed now. Then I woke up the next morning, it was still online, so I bought it then. Thankfully, no one caught it before me.
Is it in good condition too?
Oh yeah, it's in solid condition. Yeah, definitely.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any vinyls that you accidentally broke, have you? Or any
yes, there has. I can actually show it to you if you want. I've never told anyone about this. Never told anyone about this. I just gotta get it. It's right back here somewhere. Here we go. This is actually another Beach Boys one. I was studying abroad about 10 years ago. And while I was there, I did buy a few records online to have shipped to my house. And I got back, and one of the records came. It was a copy of the Beach Boys' first single, Surfin', which is also amongst a rare Beach Boys single to find nowadays. And I don't know exactly how it happened. You know, I think at one point, like my parents opened it for me because I wanted to see it via video call. And then when I came back, I think the box dropped or something. I don't remember if I dropped it. And it cracked. And for a while, it was just cracked. But since then, it broke in half. I still have it. I've never showed anyone this before.
All
right. I'm showing you now. And I'm sure there are some Beach Boys fan who would be pissed to see something like this.
Jeez.
Considering this is a pretty rare Beach Boys single to have. But, yep.
Yeah, that would break somebody's heart if they saw that. They were like,
good. We should break their hearts because these are people who deserve
and
what have their heart broken sometimes.
And what made you want to keep it?
I mean, I don't know. I just did. I mean, I don't know. I'm not good at, especially when a Beach Boys single like this, I still didn't necessarily want to throw it out either. It'd be if, like, yeah. So I broke that one.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I like this stuff I broke that are like, that I own that was very expensive and stuff. And myself, I won't throw them out right away because first of all, it's something that I pay good money for and stuff. And it's still gonna be a collection to on my shelf or on my dresser or whatever and stuff. And I'm gonna just have it as something where I look at it and I can see it from my bedroom or whatever. I have it ever like somewhere in the house and stuff. And if someone ever asks, I'm like, oh, so what happened? Yeah, I dropped it and then I glued it back together because it's worth a lot of money. So
I wish records were easy to glue back together, but
yeah, that would be nice.
I will say I don't want anyone to worry because I did not long after I get another copy on eBay, and that one still works just fine. This is how it's supposed to look.
Oh, nice.
It's this one's fine.
That's good. That's good, man.
What albums do you have like multiple copies of?
I'm glad you asked.
Nick.
My fans know about this one. I can't believe I'm saying that I have fans. I feel so cocky right now.
Yeah, because you randomly just came up on my TikTok one day.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, cool. I'm glad.
Yeah, and then Nick
thank you, algorithm.
And then Nick told me about you, and I was like, "Oh, who is this guy?" And then he's just like, "Oh, we got to interview him." So
you guys are flattering me. Stop boosting my ego, please. No. I have 14 vinyl copies of Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles.
Jeez.
Yeah, Jesus, right. it was never intentional. One of my first records in my collection was a Sgt. Pepper. Well, after I started collecting, my parents let me have all their old records. They were in, storage around the house for a while, but I finally got to, keep them for myself. And my mom had a copy of Sgt. Pepper. It was like a mid-70s US pressing.
Mm.
And, there were a few others I got after that within the next 6-7 years, 6-7-8 years, whatever. Like I got like the remix picture disc and got the 2014 mono version. But over time, like in let's say in the last 4 or 5 years, like that collection grew by a lot. Now I have 14.
Jeez.
A few US pressings, mostly like European ones, like some British, one from Israel, some reissued.
Israel. I said Israel. Interesting.
Yeah, I used to live there.
Cool.
Country means a lot to me. I love it, and I like to get once in a while get a pressing from there. Just they do happen to sound good. They use the same masters and cuttings frequently. At least in the case of the Beatles, like they use the same cuttings as they would in the UK. So they do sound very similar. They sound practically the same. I get it just because I'm sentimental for that.
Which one sounds the best?
Oh, that's I would say my personal favorite is the original UK mono. But the 2014 mono also sounds fantastic as well. They're both, I'd say they're tied. It's this one.
Wow.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, thanks guys. But I don't get them much anymore. Like I used to try to find particular pressings online and order them online. But nowadays, like if I happen to find one I don't have, I might get it. Like I was gonna stop at 12, and then within the last year or so, like not even, I happened to find 3 more just randomly at record stores and record fairs, and I was like, damn it.
Wow, that's interesting. And so one of my last questions I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
And you've been collecting vinyls, you said at the age of 14, right?
Yeah.
And how old are you now?
I'm gonna be turning 28 next month.
Nice.
Okay. Nice. So we're basically all the same age.
Next month it'll be half my life.
Wow.
Right. Wow. Yeah,
right.
You've been doing that for 14 years.
I know.
So what I wanted to ask was if you could, like, when you first started, getting into music and stuff, or not getting into music, but falling in love with vinyls and collecting old classic vinyl collections and stuff, what was the best you could say that was the best and you're glad that you have it to this day? Your all-time favorite, that will never get old. You will like always continue on playing it and stuff. Which one do you consider the most that you like the most?
That's a tough one. There's definitely a few of those. A Beach Boys album came to my head. I'm talking about the Beach Boys and the Beatles a lot, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big Beatles fan, so that's fine with me.
Yeah.
I never worry about being judged. I just want to make sure people know that I do like bands other than them.
Yeah, I'm more of a Beach Boys guy than the Beatles, because I just know a little bit more about the Beach Boys. But like I said, I do like the Beatles myself as well. Just I don't know a lot of facts like Nick does about them, because Nick, oh man, he knows about the Beatles.
Do you have every album of the Beatles?
Yes, I do. Every British album, most Americans, and they're not all like original UK pressings. Like I have a bunch of UK pressings. Some I have later pressings, but I do have at least one copy of all the main albums, as well as one copy of all like the 1994 and beyond records, like Past Masters and Anthology, Beatles 1, Yellow Submarine Song Track, Let It Be Naked, Live at the BBC's 1 and 2, stuff like that.
Do you have the Red and Blue album?
Yes, I have the 2014s for those. They're wonderful. What was like but to answer your question, there are pressings. Like I like to come back to Beatles ones. I have this copy of the Beach Boys album Sunflower. I got it in college. It's a promo copy. It has a sticker on front and it's on a white label. And I used to play that a lot in college because Sunflower is my favorite Beach Boys album. And back in college, I used a Crosley. So I'm not sure if it sounds quite as great as it used to. It still sounds good. Still sounds great, but this is a Crosley, so who knows?
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
And what else? I mean, I do like to play plenty of these Beatles records. I have original pressings of their first 2 singles from the UK. Yes, you're there. Here's 2 of them. Love Me Do and PS I Love You. I do play these frequently. They're really fun, wonderful singles. But let me try to think of one that's not the Beatles or the Beach Boys, because gotta I just because I listen to lots of other artists too. And one artist I like to listen to from time to time again is like Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah, they're good.
Here's a fun fact, actually. So I was in the same college fraternity that they were in, both of them, Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh, that's cool.
And I also really love the Rolling Stones, so I listen to them plenty as well. 12 by 5. I have an original, like an American pressing of that. It's a great sounding record. I listen to that plenty.
Do you have the one with the zipper?
I think. Oh yes, Sticky Fingers. Yes, I do have
Yes.
Sticky Fingers. Yeah, I love that. I love that album too.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's I just gotta ask, do you have any like Michael Jackson's or like I don't know, Lionel Richie?
I have Michael
vinyls?
Jackson. I have Off the Wall and Thriller. And I have I do have also Say by him and Paul McCartney.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, it's a great one. I don't think I have any Lionel Richie at the moment, though. There's no doubt he's fantastic.
Any Prince? Any like Prince?
Yes, I do. I have 2. I have the Purple album cover. Which one is that? 1999?
Yeah, 1999, yes.
Purple Rain.
Yeah, Purple Rain in 1999.
No, I have 1999. I have 1999, not Purple Rain. And then I have this gold album. It was reissued for Record Store Day a year or 2 ago. I forgot the name of it. But I think it might have been issued during his Nameless years, or the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yeah.
But it was a Record Store Day find. Yeah. That's it for Prince, though.
And what album do you want to pick up on Record Store Day?
There's a couple. Red Rose Speedway by Paul McCartney.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and this reminds me of another album that I do frequently come back to, and I'll tell you about that in a second. The other one is Jonathan Goes Country by Jonathan Richman.
Wow, nice.
Interesting.
You guys heard of Jonathan Richman?
No, I haven't. No.
No, I don't believe so.
Well, this gave me another answer to the question you asked before about records I pick up and play again. And one of them is called The Modern Lovers.
Ah, interesting. Wow.
Not the most well-known record, but it's definitely become well, it was definitely influential. It's like sort of like a proto-punk. This is a band led by Jonathan Richman. You know who else was also in this band? Jerry Harrison, who eventually joined Talking Heads. Oh. And David Robinson, who eventually joined the Cars.
Yeah.
And the sound.
You're right.
The band had the original Modern Lovers had broken up by the time this came out, but it became pretty well known. And I love this album a lot, and I've really grown to love Jonathan Richman's solo stuff as well as the stuff he put out with later versions of the Modern Lovers. And this wasn't a band or a group I've loved my whole life. I only got into them in the last few years, but I really didn't. It didn't take me long to really start loving the Modern Lovers and Jonathan Richman's music. I actually took this out of my shelf today because I had thought about playing it today.
That is cool.
Yeah. Hey, it might be sorry to interrupt, but it might be a good song, especially to listen to, and it's while it's 420 and stuff. That'll be one of my first choice to play.
Wait, which song?
The one, what is it? The one that you just showed.
Modern Lovers?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good idea. Well, I do have something ready for me after we're done with this. I'm gonna. I've been waiting all day. I'm gonna.
Yeah. We know what you mean, man.
We know what you mean.
It's not something I really show myself doing on social media, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, just all I can say is enjoy yourself. Enjoy.
Oh, thanks guys. believe me though, there's no rush. I'm still available to you guys for however long as you need me for. I'm having fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of turntable do you have?
I have a Technics Quartz SL 1600 MK2. It's a
Oh, nice.
vintage Technic from the 80s. It used to be my uncle's. Got it after he passed away about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's a fantastic turntable.
I'm sorry, but that's good.
That's
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, it sucks that he passed away.
Yeah.
I wish I got to sort of enjoy with him, but
yeah.
Did you?
you know, I hadn't seen him for many years because he had pretty rough mental health issues and sort of took himself away from the family. The only person who he really spoke to was my dad. But after he died, he had a lot of records. I inherited his record collection. I inherited the turntable. Before that, it was just a Sony, the same Sony my parents got me when I started collecting, and it was time for an upgrade anyway.
Yeah.
It worked out.
So, is anybody in your family are a big vinyl collection, or is it just you?
We're all big music lovers in the family. We're all quite big music lovers in my family, but I'm the only one who really collects vinyl.
But what made you like start collecting?
Well, I got the record by accident, and I was really intrigued by it, and you know, the idea of having a record really excited me, so I started buying records.
That is cool.
Yeah,
I love how it's just like a happy accident.
Yeah,
that's exactly how it was. It really was a happy accident, and it
Yeah.
was also a very not cost effective, very money spending accident, broke accident.
right. Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to think of the right word. I couldn't think of the right word. But you get the
So,
Well,
well, you've been a very it's been a pleasure talking to you.
It really has.
Yeah,
It's really a pleasure talking to you guys too. I had a blast doing this.
yeah. Do you want to? Sorry, Nick.
It was really nice talking to you.
Yeah.
Pleasure talking.
Before you go, do you want to put any social media so your fans can follow you and stuff? Or
Well, my handle on Facebook, TikTok, and Facebook is called vinylbenjy. vinylbenjy. I spell Benji with a Y. That's not something.
Okay.
People assume it's with an I, understandably, but I spell with
Is
a Y.
Benji is Benji short for like Benjamin or?
Yeah, short for Benji.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool.
It was really nice having you, Vinyl Benji.
Yeah.
Pleasure meeting you guys too, and I can't wait to hear this podcast later when I'm bored and I need a pick me up. I need things are rough and I'll need a pick me up to make me feel better. It's like one of those.
And I'll definitely.
By the way, if you want to follow us too,
I'd love to.
And stuff, you can follow my personal one, Frederick Grimsley Jr. It's all one word. It's a verified photo, verified account, but and then the music podcast.
Music podcast. And I'll definitely let you know when I post it.
Oh damn, that's you, Fred. Look at you.
Yeah, you see me?
Yeah.
Is that me?
Yeah,
that's me. Yeah. So, thank you.
Thank you.
So
It was
much.
really nice having you.
Pleasure meeting you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekends, and I hope to talk to you guys again sometime soon.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Take care.
We definitely have to have another interview. But yeah, take care.
You too, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys for watching our interview. Don't forget to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio podcast, and more every Saturday night at 8. My name is Nick.
And I'm Frederick.
And this has been the Music Podcast. Don't forget to check us out every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you get your podcast.